From an undisclosed location in North America, you are watching Card to Card. This episode of Card to Card, very interesting to me anyway. It's about Spring-Heeled Jack. And as I was getting ready to do the video, I noticed that some of the stuff on here does not match up with what I discovered about Spring-Heeled Jack. So there's the artwork there. This is artwork by Poncho, as he does a lot of MetaZoo art. Interesting looking character there, and I definitely wanted to find out something about Spring-Heeled Jack. I'd never even heard of him, but he is considered, from what I did on my research, I will say, this is what I'm not understanding, is this says the date of birth 1892, Brooklyn, New York. Now, what I found on Spring-Heeled Jack was that he was considered an entity from England from the Victorian era. He was first reported seen in 1837. So I don't know if there was another Spring-Heeled Jack that this card is talking about here with these. Usually we're dead on with all of our dates and stuff, but the Spring-Heeled Jack from London, England was a very interesting cryptid. He reportedly has a very terrifying and frightful appearance. His eyes were like red balls of fire. He had clawed hands. He was almost devil-like and had like an incredible leaping ability. And he wore a black cloak. He was tall and thin and could breathe blue and white flames. And it was also he was also heard to verbalize and communicate in English. So just an absolute fascinating character that a lot of people say inspired the actual Batman character of comic book fame. But Spring-Heeled Jack was no hero, as we'll come to discover here. And here's some actual depictions of Spring-Heeled Jack from the old English periodicals and stuff like that. We'll just go ahead and show. There's a image of Spring-Heeled Jack, and as you can see, he's got this incredible leaping ability. This guy's chasing him. He's leaping over this gate. He definitely has kind of like a devilish look to him. And also wanted to show this other picture. And this is the one that really makes me think he inspired Batman. That whole superhero. Just look at Spring-Heeled Jack here. Just very outlandish, crazy. He looks like Batman there. And these are from the 1800s depictions here. So very interesting. So some say that Spring-Heeled Jack was a ghost, but from the eyewitness accounts that I looked into, I definitely do not believe that. And at this time, I'm going to recount the two most documented reports of Spring-Heeled Jack, and these come from 1838. And these are documented reports. And I will say they are graphic, so viewer discretion is advised. On February 19th, late at night, Jane Alsop, she answered a knock at her door, and there was a man at the door. He claimed to be a police officer. He told her to bring a light and that they had caught Spring-Heeled Jack. So she got a lit candle, and as she brought the candle up to the door, she could see that he had a black cloak. And as soon as she gave him the candle, he threw off the cloak and his presentation of himself was just described as most hideous and frightful appearance. So he then uh, spew out blue and white flames and had these red fireball eyes. And he grabbed her and began tearing her gown with his metal-like claws. And she screamed and got away, but was severely injured. So these metal-like claws were also very interesting to me. Made me think of Edward Scissorhands, but I never saw the movie. But my image of Edward Scissorhands is something like that. But I know he probably wasn't like a someone that attacked people. But 9 days later, on February 28th, and this is 1838, Lucy Scales and her sister returned home from a trip, and they observed a person standing in the dark passage. And he was wearing a black cloak, and he breathed blue flame into her face, and this temporarily blinded her. And Lucy's sister noted that he carried a lamp with him that was much like what the policeman carried around at that time. So I actually have some other pictures of Spring Heel Jack from England. We don't have a video this time, unfortunately, but these incidents were so long ago. There's just nothing cool I could show on video. So there is the Spring Heel Jack, the Terror of London. So you can see him jumping over horses there. You see him right there, just I don't know what he's doing there, but just a frightful character there. And we have another photo here. This is of him carrying off a victim, this female, and as you can see, he's pretty high off the ground, leaping about. So, Spring Heel Jack. As we saw in those pictures, he's often depicted as a devil-like creature, and many think that Spring Heel Jack was simply a trickster. But honestly, I don't know. I think there's too much documented things about him where he definitely was a creature or person or something. He had to be human in some type because he was able to speak. And I don't think this was just a urban legend to keep people off the streets. I think with the reports, and these are like documented in history, I'm pretty sure this was an actual human. And there are some that think that he was a policeman, and I can see some of that, but a policeman with a really bizarre knack, like not a knack, but he had a really bizarre kink, I guess you'd say, scaring people and stuff like that. And I definitely think he was familiar with chemistry, because I think a lot of the things that they used to describe Spring Heel Jack are things you could do back then. You know, maybe not the leaping over gates and stuff like that, but there's phosphorus flame that's blue and white. Maybe he had some sort of way to do that. And maybe like he's an illusionist somehow. But he was obviously not out there with good intent. So when people think, oh, this was one of the first superheroes, he was definitely not a hero. He was very villainous. So I'm very curious why Metazu did this card, though. As this is a part of the video where we take a closer look at the artwork here. I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of those Spring Heel Jack images from England. I mean, he's got those horns and stuff like that. He's got the cloak. He's jumping around. It is the 1800s, but this is New York. And it says 1892, which does not match up with what I was seeing. And I did not see something about New York. But I'll look into it some more. Maybe we'll do a follow-up on our next episode about, is there a Spring Heel Jack legend in America? And another thing that's kind of weird is that all these cryptids are supposed to be from North America, from these Metazoo sets that are out right now. And this is from the Wilderness set, by the way. So I think they will expand if they continue the game, expand into like Europe and stuff. I think there's gonna be some great cryptids in those sets. But I'm pretty sure that the Spring Hill Jack that this is being inspired by is the British one, and he doesn't have the red glowing eyes though. But really cool art. I definitely was very intrigued to find out about Spring Heel Jack, and maybe since Spring Heel Jack was kind of like a real story, that they didn't feel like they should base this cryptid off of that person. Maybe they don't want to actually base it like off of actual human beings. So let's look at the flavor text. It says, the wonderful, lovable thing about myself is that I am the bouncy one, Spring Hill Jack. So that doesn't really jive with what we saw with the London Spring Hill Jack. So thank you for watching. And next time you are in the city, maybe London or Brooklyn, and you catch something out of the corner of your eye, and you hear this weird cackling and women screaming, you definitely need to keep your eyes out.